Welcome back to the Bronx Buzz. And I am just thrilled because he's a friend of mine. He's a friend of the Bronx. He's a friend of the Bronx children, especially. And that is my good buddy, Stephen Ritz. The Green Bronx Machine is here.
Why, thank you, Gary. It's so good to see you. Love that tie.
I know. And
Spring is blooming, baby, right on your shirt.
That's it. Spring is busting out all over or something. Stephen Ritz, you put out a report of all the things that you and the Green Bronx Machine has done in, I guess, last year in 2020, which was a very difficult year. But you and your colleagues at the Green Bronx Machine have stepped up. The numbers are just unbelievable. 5,000 pounds of produce grown locally in the Bronx. Just talk to me about what this year was like for GBM.
Well, this was the year that blew the roof off of everything. Let's start 2020, and thank you for acknowledging the work of this organization. But I think this was the year that changed everything. We learned just how broken things are. Food systems, the education system, the legal system, all the social unrest that we've seen. So this was a year that really requires us to take stock of who we are as individuals and as a nation. And, I'm proud to be wearing, of course, my education, not asphyxiation t-shirt, because that's what this movement is all about, sequestering carbon and putting more oxygen into our beautiful Bronx borough and around the world. But this was a year, and I want to take a moment to thank all of our local friends, family, and supporters, people who came out to help us plant and grow that 5,000 pounds of food. I want to take a moment to say thank you to local vendors, the merchants, the incredible people at Hunts Point who helped us rescue 10,000 pounds of food from landfill and deliver it to hungry families across the borough. And thanks to everyone who bought a t-shirt, bought a book, got involved and made a donation, because we delivered door to door across this borough and to some seniors in Washington Heights over 100,000 pounds of food, door to door in the height of COVID. So for us, it was all about impact. We are an impact-driven, for-purpose organization dedicated to growing something greater.
And one of the things that we have talked about on not only this show, but my other program, Bronx Talk, is that despite the difficulties, there have been some real revelations. And you've articulated the fact that now we realize more than ever that, number one, kids have to have opportunities in schools to understand things better, because it's a big, sometimes dangerous, complicated world. And more importantly, the emphasis on nutrition and health. And we can do these things. All we need, I believe, all we need is the will. Now, you have something that you were going to announce, funding and some other things that are coming to us. Let's talk about it.
I mean, there's so much to announce, but you've hit the key piece here in the Bronx and around the world. The most important school supply in the world is food. Children will never be well-read if they're not well-fed. And this is a community and across America where food justice is racial justice. So who has access to what, where, when, and how determines everything, because food really impacts our social determinants of health. In that spirit, I'm just super excited that Green Bronx Machine is working with the New York City Department of Education and the Department of Sustainability grants to help bring 50 new gardens to schools across New York City. And we're going to do indoor gardens, we're going to do outdoor gardens, and unlike many other vendors in New York City, what we're doing is we are just being the conduit, the direct connection between the source of this technology and the great city of New York. So there is zero profit involved on our end. And for a long time, I've been campaigning about the for-profit, nonprofit cycle, where organizations are getting rich off the dysfunction and generosity of New York City and corporate benefactors. And in fact, now, by taking this chunk of money, which traditionally under normal circumstances would have maybe touched 10 to 15 or 20 schools max, we're touching 50 schools. And the manufacturers and suppliers are taking those proceeds and donating them back to hire Bronx students and Bronx adults to be technicians in the trade. So it's going to literally be a circular economy of pipeline to employment.
What I'm going to do and what we're going to do right now, you have incredible materials. I mean, you've developed this stuff. It just it explains it perfectly. You have a video. We're going to show about a minute of a much longer video to give people an idea of, number one, how serious the food issue is in the Bronx and in the city of New York, and then, of course, a nice picture at the end of it of what the solutions are. So here we are, ladies and gentlemen. The green. I almost said it wrong. The Green Bronx Machine.
Out of darkness came the most incredible light, and the legacy of my son and countless other students that I've had to bury far too young, which will far exceed their time on this earth. We are the poorest congressional district in America. That's an economic reality. You have 45,000 people living within 8 square blocks of each other, and healthy, fresh food is not available. For so many, food is the problem. But for all of us, food is the answer.
All right, there you have it. Green Bronx Machine. It's much like the old rock band Cream. It's not the Cream, it's Green Bronx Machine. Um, Stephen Ritz, you have something really fun. You've partnered with professional athletes before, but now you have partnered with a professional mascot. Talk to me about what's going on with Mr. and Mrs. Met.
Okay, well, not only is it Mr. and Mrs. Met, it's so many great organizations and institutions across New York City, including the amazing American Museum of Natural History, where I go and interview dinosaurs and swim with the great blue whale. And what this really is, it's part of a great new series debuting on PBS called Let's Learn. And our first Green Bronx Machine episode debuts on April 6th. And we have a whole series where the whole thing is designed to connect with children ages 3 years old to 8 who are still at home, still COVID afflicted and affected, and aren't coming to school and may not have access to the internet. So what we are doing is we are pumping live learning lessons and pre-recorded learning lessons through public television designed to teach kids about eating, animals, community, health, wellness, mindfulness, education. And the episode that you're referencing is, yes, in this very classroom, I was visited by Mr. and Mrs. Met, Mr. Met and Mrs. Met. They have autographed cards for you here, Gary. We know you're a fan. Along with your St. Patrick's Day green Mets hat. I wouldn't make sure it's green. You know me, and it has your name on it. And we're debuting episodes on public television that are really designed to engage, enthrall, and most importantly, educate our children.
Now, I'm going to give a little inside baseball, if you will. Steve sent me a clip so I could look at what the video looks like. I was impressed because it looks to me like you are establishing yourself in this video as like a personnel, like a child's television personality. We saw you drawing and you did all these things. Something that we can look toward in the future.
Very funny you mention it. You know, all of our episodes are Bronx based and Bronx tested. So they feature Bronx children. It all starts with a call in my classroom, and then we go somewhere because we want children in the Bronx to understand that they're part of a bigger narrative and greater city. But, you know, we teach children to draw. So you talk about the dancing episode. Dancing is not my forte, but you saw part of it. You know, Mr. Met got me rhythmic. And we were literally beta testing these episodes with children in school who love them. My episode got this today. A young child came and gave me riding the blue whale in the middle of the Museum of Natural History with my cheese hat. So we try and make it educational. We try and make it engaging. And we really want children in this moment to know that they're important to me. So it's kind of like a Mr. Cotter meets Mr. Rogers meets Captain Kangaroo on the Grand Concourse. And then, you know, I get on the D train or the 4 train and go somewhere real exciting and bring children with me.
The numbers that you put out are extraordinary. Delivered more than 100,000 pounds of food, rescued more than 10,000 pounds of food, helped feed 2,300 people daily. We talked about growing 5,000 pounds of local Bronx food, brought students on socially distant field trips. And I'm telling you, if you look at your website, it is completely professional. You work with talented people. You do it all yourself. Talk to me about
This is
how
all
Green.
Bronx based, baby. This is all Bronx based, just like you. All good from the hood. We mean what we say and we say what we mean. Don't talk to me if you don't have a 104 in your zip code. So in this episode, that we're doing at PBS, it's all Bronx children. It's all Bronx people. We, for far too long, people say we're under-resourced. I take great umbrage with that. The greatest resources are right around us. Look, I was so grateful to meet you when I lived across the street. That's how we met. So I like to say the Bronx is over-extracted. We pay too high a price for too many things, including human capital. So we've got to start building our own infrastructure, telling our own narrative, creating our own stories, growing our own food, creating our own jobs, growing our own teachers, and that's where we're going to make a difference.
You work with a lot of children. The children love this, right? It brings them into school. It attracts them to school. It transforms their lives. Let's get you to just talk about the social media handles. How do people interact? Parents, teachers, kids. How do they help support the resources and take advantage of the resources of Green Bronx Machine?
Well, very kind and gracious of you, Gary. So first and foremost, you can follow us on social media at Green Bronx Machine. On Facebook, I believe it's Green BX Machine. You can follow me, Stephen Ritz, StephenRitz on social media. You can go to the Green Bronx Machine website. You can go to the Stephen Ritz website. You can join us on LinkedIn. And I'm going to tell you, for any educator out there who's watching the show, today is your special day. It's called the Gary Axelbank discount. Any teacher who reaches out to me, I will send you a set of books for your children, free. I'll log into your class. I'll do a reading. This is a Board of Ed approved book. I'll send you a copy. Up, You've Got a Power of the Plant. That's my award-winning, #1 best-selling book. If you buy that book, you are supporting from our website, not from Amazon. Because Amazon actually sells it for less than I can buy it for with my offer discount.
Steve, we're going to have to go. I'm going to just show you that my copy is autographed, which I appreciate. Anyway, Stephen Ritz, you're a friend of the Bronx, a friend of me, a friend of the show, and a friend of our children, which is most important. Thank you for everything you do. And we're going to say goodnight to the people of the Bronx.
Get the t-shirt, Gary. What size do you want? I'll mail you one.
Well, there you go, Steve Ritz. Thank you so much for joining us. You are the absolute best. And that's all for the show. Thank you to Samar Kershid. And thank you, of course, to Green Bronx Machine. Get involved, support, help, be part of the movement. And guess what? We'll see you next week. Have a good day.